Hi, I'm Maribel Aber from M&A.TV, and I'm here with Andrew Rice. He is the Senior Vice President of International of the Jordan Company. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your award today.
Thank you very much.
Talk a little bit about your company.
The Jordan Company is a global middle market private equity firm. We have about $6 billion of capital under management, and we invest primarily in U.S. companies, but we're very active in helping our companies expand internationally through acquisitions, joint ventures, and building greenfield operations.
It was interesting this morning during the cross-border discussions and later in your panel, you talked about setting a team, and you said this in the book, setting a team ahead of time. Can you expand on that?
Sure. In China, once you reach an agreement to acquire or do a joint venture with a company, you need 10 to 15 different Chinese government approvals before you can actually close. That process can take 2 to 6 months. So what we will do is we will hire managers that we want to go in and help run those companies and get them involved with the business before we actually close. Because the day it closes, we want to have them familiar with the company. We want to put proper bank and financial controls in place. And it takes a month or two to really get that going.
And how do you find that right time?
We err on the side of doing it sooner rather than later. There's always a risk that you hire these folks and then you don't do the deal for some reason. And then we have an understanding with them that, you know, we'll get them involved with some other part of our operation in China. But we just think that there's too much risk to not get our folks involved right from day one. And that's very important.
Can you talk a little bit about, in terms of themes, what are some big issues that lie ahead right now in the mergers and acquisitions community right now?
Internationally? Well, my main focus right now is China. One of the issues is there's a lot of money chasing too few deals in China. There have been many new local renminbi funds that are domestic funds, and they've got a lot of money, and they're typically run by former investment bankers that know how to do deals, but they don't really know how to run companies. Most middle market private equity professionals are very involved with helping the operations of the companies in which they invest. Also, foreign investors do a lot of due diligence. A lot of the RMB funds, they do their deals quicker with less due diligence. They're more willing to do a handshake deal, and if there's a problem, they'll address it down the road. And so sometimes competing against them is tough because they're able to go in and do these deals quicker. We compete with them because we've been doing deals there for 15 years. We have a track record, and we try to talk with the entrepreneurs in whom we're investing with to say, hey, look, you know, we might not pay as high a price. It might take us a little longer, but you know, we've got a track record of working with our companies to help them grow. But that's a real challenge right now for foreign investors in China.
What do you think your biggest challenge is in China?
There's that. And then the other thing is, once you do the investment, is finding good people to help run the companies. Because not only are private equity firms going to China, all the Fortune 1000 firms worldwide are going there, so there's a scarcity of managers that speak English, that have worked with other Western firms. And those people issues, just like in the U.S., getting the right people is a key. But that's something that we're always focusing on in China.
How about any of these regulatory audit issues that have come up lately? Has that impacted you at all?
Not much, because we've taken some of our companies public in Hong Kong, but mostly we're looking at buying private companies. What you're referring to are the Chinese companies that went public in the U.S., typically through reverse mergers where there wasn't a lot of due diligence through the underwriting process, and some of those companies had fraudulent accounting, et cetera. Unfortunately, there are many good companies within that mix, and they're all being hurt by the few that didn't do things properly. And we're not involved in those sort of investments. So.
Last question. What do you think is the one big mistake that you see companies making right now in the marketplace?
Well, in China, the biggest mistake is they make a few trips there, they cut a deal with a partner, and they think it's going to be on autopilot. It's a huge commitment, not only to find companies and do the deal, but after the investment, we feel it's important that key operating managers and our partners are there regularly to oversee what's going on and be involved. It's not a place to make the investment and just trust your local partner or local management team. And that's a big mistake that a lot of firms, both corporates and private equity firms, make in China.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. You're watching M&A.TV. Join the leaders.